What's up, guys? Welcome to the Eline Media video game design stream for You Code It this week. It's March 31st, and I'm broadcasting to you at 7 o'clock to talk about all things game building and game design. So I'm going to hang out here on Twitch for the next hour, talk about some Unity stuff, some game making stuff, and then we'll hopefully be able to collaborate a little bit on working on some of your individual game projects. So I hope that gets people excited about working in the midst of all of this social isolation that we're experiencing. Um, I know it can get a little bit exhausting to be inside all day, bored every day. So, by all means, I'm hoping that we can make video games at least to feel distracted and some joy in life. Say hi if you're there in the chat. We've got Haley here. Haley, I'm going to make you a mod here as well. Thanks, guys, for migrating over to the official Eline Media EDU Twitch channel. I was broadcasting using my own channel last week to you guys, and between last week and this week, we decided we want to run all of these through official Eline Media channels. Of course, Eline Media is the company I work for, which is a partner of You Code It, and I'm here to um, tell you everything will be the same except, I'm broadcasting here from now on. So you can follow me on Twitch following this channel and you'll get notifications when I'm live. You're free to join in at any time I'm broadcasting, whether it's 7 o'clock on Tuesdays or the other times I cast. I do cast on Mondays and Wednesdays as well. And there's all kinds of good game development stuff going on throughout the week right here on Twitch. So yeah, let's hang out and just see who else joins us in the chat. Again, if you've hopped in, say hi in the chat. Just let us know you're here for this evening. Um, we're going to talk some Unity basics today, getting your project set up and running. And I wanted to let you guys know just generally about where to go to get information about this class and the game making challenge that we're doing. So I will kick this off with that. Um, looks like we've got a couple folks here from class already, so thank you very much for being punctual. Hope you guys have been having a great week. And again, if we were if we were at UCoded, I would be like, "What's one word to describe your week?" And we would see if anyone had anything to say other than or meh or boring. But if you said that this week, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. Exhausting. I'm seeing that. Yes, I think that's a pretty good way to describe it. It's weird because, you'd think that it wouldn't be exhausting to lay around at home, but the truth of the matter is it's really weird and different to just spend all your time inside. And I think that can drain you in a weird way. Um, confusing, loaded with homework. Yeah, I bet you guys are getting a lot of homework digitally now, emailed from your teachers. And that is just so different. Everything's homework now, I guess. Totally different form of doing school than actually going to school and spending time in a classroom. Yeah, I can't imagine. Anybody sick of looking at a screen? The only way we can see other people other than our families. It's pretty intense. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Everyone's saying yes. Yep. I am feeling that way right now. Um, you know, I will say one of the things that's nice about working on games during all of this is it's kind of a funny experience to troubleshoot a video game in a way that setting up a Zoom meeting or a Google Classroom really isn't. And I'm trying to take joy in the odd things I do when I'm making games, like having a cat walk through a wall and other wacky stuff that happens when you're making video games. And just enjoy that process, even though we're really, in many ways changed to the computer in a way we weren't before. We can still go outside though. We can still go outside. I went on a walk today. A lot of flowers blooming here in New York City. As you guys know, I do live in Manhattan and it's pretty quiet over here. I don't know how it is out there in New Jersey, but there's not a lot of people on the streets. But that doesn't mean the flowers aren't blooming. So taking walks has been really helpful for my state of mind. If you're just joining again, say hi in the chat. I'll probably go ahead and get started. Looks like we've got quite a good number of folks who are here with us today. And my first order of business is just to let you guys know that we have created a home base online for all of the information you need to know about this game making challenge that we're doing. So I'm going to actually show you guys that just so you can get a sense of where to go. And that right there is our website for online learning with Make Room, which is the Eline Media arm of learning, and it's what I teach through at UCodit. So your new URL to head to is makeroom.elinemedia.com/online-learning. And I will type that in the chat for you guys who are here so you can click on it and go there yourself. So we've got all the details right here on this site. The Alone Together theme is mentioned here, as well as the details I passed out last week. And you'll see on this website that very soon you'll have a portal open here to submit a game. You'll be able to log in here and submit the game you're making in the month of April to this challenge. And if you read closely, you'll see it says, submitted games will be play tested and voted on by youth game makers from other studios, your instructors, our partners, and potentially even some of the game developers here at Eline Media. So you'll have a real opportunity to release a game for other people to enjoy. And I'm really excited about this opportunity, which is not something we had before. We would always kind of keep things local to our studio there at Kidville. And now we actually have a chance to release games to the wider world. So if you forget what's going on, or you want to get updated, or maybe you need help with something, all of your questions, go to this website to see if you can get your questions answered here. We've got links to all of the places where we're creating content and media for you to learn from. So you have a link to this Twitch channel. You've got our YouTube channel where we're posting recordings of these broadcasts, as well as tutorials, short videos that teach you single concepts in game dev will be posted on there every week. And then you also have a blog that's hosted right here on the Make Room website. Has all kinds of details on the challenge, as well as some of the more important things you need to know about using Unity when you're off by yourself making your own project. So I'm going to actually click on the blog and just show you guys some of the stuff that's here. You can look at this on your own time, but we've got some stuff here about this challenge, some of the details, and basics of installing Unity, creating a new Unity project, and adding collaborators. All of these things are sort of foundational Unity skills, and lucky for us, we already have Unity installed, so we're ahead of the game. But you'll need to know how to do this stuff to really work on a project in Unity for this challenge. And I'm hoping to take you through some of this quickly today, get you on the right track with creating your own project, and then actually get started on the fun of doing some real game development. So just to recap, Make Room, it's got everything you need to keep up with this challenge, and it's where you're going to submit your game by April 30th. Again, April 30th is the deadline for making a game for this challenge. We'll probably continue offering game making challenges as long as we're all stuck inside and doing this online. But for this one, be thinking, I have a month to make a video game. What am I going to do? So just keeping that in mind, I think. What do I want to make? How am I going to respond to this theme? Speaking of which, I was curious, folks who were here last week, and maybe anybody that's joining new this week but knows what's going on with the challenge. I'm curious if folks would put in the chat what kind of game you might be interested in making. So just as you're watching this, let me know the kind of game. You know, we had the idea of a delivery game was one option. We also talked about doing like a creepy or some kind of house interior game. And then the third choice was to do a game where, you know, you had a cat running around knocking over furniture inside someone's house. I know some folks talked about maybe doing a version of the game with the cat, but substituting in a bird. I believe that was Christian's idea. You know, curious what you guys might want to make. So, you know, anytime, you know, as you're watching this broadcast, if you want to toss that into the chat, just let me know. And as I see those, I'll give you a nod and just sort of maybe try to figure out what I should teach you guys first in the broadcast next week. Because I can show you guys how to set the cat up first, or I can show you how to set up a car. You know, there's lots of options in what we work on in these live casts. And if you want to influence me, then absolutely let me know. Okay, cool. Hello. Hey. Looks like I had another connection blip. Just let me know if you guys are seeing me. Just give me a wave in the chat and let me know if you're catching this now that I stopped and started the cast again. But it looks like we're live. You're still there. Great. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, we just had a weird little blip there. It just went offline for a second. So looks like people are around. Great. Great. Welcome back, guys. Don't know what that was about. Sometimes the internet is working against us, and let's keep going. So, my goal tonight was to start off by showing you guys how to create a new Unity project. And if you are using your laptop, your gaming laptop from UCoded, the ones we use in class, you can follow along with this by opening the Unity Hub. So you'll of course want to go on your desktop and find Unity Hub. Here's mine right here. Double clicking on that and opening your hub, which looks of course like this. And once you're here, you'll want to create a new project just by going over to New, the blue button here. You don't need to really click on this arrow. That's to set the version, but you're already set up with the version I want you guys to use. So all you need to do is click on the word New, and it will open this window here. This allows you to set up the basics of the project you're going to create. You can name your project here, and you're really allowed to name this whatever you want. I'll call this Natalie Project. And then I'm going to leave 3D highlighted here because we want to do game development in 3D. Whatever location this is set at is usually fine. Most of those computers have a folder already set up to put game projects in, so you can leave that the same. Francis, I know you use your own computer for this, so I'll trust you to pick a location on the hard drive that has the most space, your biggest partition. You will have a limitation on your own Unity ID of a project that's 1 gigabyte in size, only 1 gigabyte. So even if you do have endless hard drive space, you won't be able to make this huge. But don't worry about that because 1 gigabyte is plenty for the kind of game that we're talking about for this project. So all you have to do from this is click on the blue Create button, and Unity will start to assemble your project. So, you know, just like on my computer, yours will take a while to load this up. So just let it load. It's going to import things. It's going to set things up for you. And then when you get to the end of this loading screen, you will find yourself in an absolutely brand new blank Unity project. Now, typically when we work on Unity projects in the classroom, I've already created a project for you. And then I share it with you so that you can download it and open it up. But what you're doing now is creating your own project, local on your computer, that's open and ready for you to start creating. So as you load in your new project, it's going to look something like this. You'll have everything fairly blank in the editor. You'll see in your sample scene, you've got a couple things listed in the hierarchy here, but there's no game. And that's, of course, because it's a blank project and it's ready for you to start designing a game. So this is your basic setup for working on this project. And there's one more thing you know. So is a way that you guys are on your project. You can add me as a collaborator on your project, and if you do that, you will enable me to download the progress that you are making on your game and help you work on things. See what's wrong if you have a broken script, something like that. And you'll need to do that by setting up Unity Collaborate. So conveniently, I already have a tutorial for setting up Unity Collaborate, adding me to your personal project. That tutorial is available on the Make Room website. So if you went to the online learning section and then let's say scroll down, we've got it in lots of places, but I've actually got the video right here, adding collaborators to a Unity project. And if you watch this video, it'll take you step by step through adding me as a collaborator. There's also a guide to doing this on the blog here, right at the top. It's the most recent entry. You can click on read more. And this will take you through the details of adding me to your project. So your assignment for next week is 100% to create a new project of your own, a blank project of your own, and then add me as a collaborator to that project by following the tutorials available on this website. It takes a little bit of doing. It's a fairly lengthy process, but all you really have to do is click on things in the Unity editor and then add my email address in a couple of different places on the Unity website. So if you follow this process step by step, you'll be good to go. And I will know you did this because I will receive an email from you that lets me know I've been added to your project. So I will be looking for that email and I'll touch base with you guys next week if I didn't get that email. So you want to maybe see if you can sort through this process by following the tutorial here or by watching the video that takes you through it right here in the section titled Learn on the main makeroom.elinemedia.com/online learning page. So hopefully you guys don't have any problems with that. But if you do have an issue, what I would say is send me an email. Send me an email and let me know what your problem is because we can always help you guys troubleshoot via email. And we want you to be set up for success with this game making challenge that we're doing. So any problems, creating a blank project or setting me up as a collaborator on your project, just let me know and I will be there to help you out. If anyone has questions about that now, as always, you can put them in the chat and I'll try to respond. But what I'm talking about here is just the basic Unity setup, hoping from now that we can actually get into some game development stuff and really start to enjoy the process of being creative around this game. So again, your questions are welcome at any time as we're continuing forward here and playing around with some of the basic assets that I'm going to recommend you guys use for this. All right. So let's say that you've set your Unity project up and you've added me as a collaborator following the tutorial I've just linked you to. And you're saying, okay, I want to start working on my project. I want to start playing with a prototype. Um, what I want you guys to do is start out with the standard assets. Starting out with the standard assets is what I want to do. And to use the standard assets, you've got a couple of options. You can download them on the internet, or if you add me as a collaborator on your project, I will put them in your project for you once I receive the email that you've added me to your project. So either way, you need to get access to the Unity standard assets. And in this case, I'm going to load the standard assets into this blank Unity project that I created so we can play with them a little bit. And they're right here on my desktop. I've got a Unity package here. A Unity package, of course, is the Unity's proprietary file format for moving assets from one project to another. And the standard assets is a big package that comes with some really convenient assets that you can use to make a fun game. So I'm going to let that decompress. It's a fairly big package, so it definitely takes a minute. Never panic if you have to wait. All right, so here's all the stuff. I'm going to see this menu. I want everything. I'm clicking import. Seeing in the chat, there's also templates for games. Absolutely, there are templates. And in fact, if you want to start with a template for a game, I can recommend using Unity's tutorial games. They have a number of really nice templates for people to play with. Unity.com, if you head there, you'll see they have some great starting point stuff that you could also be creative with if you download and open it. I think the key here when you're not in the classroom is you have to upskill. You have to get better at doing the basics of downloading things and figuring out where things are in the internet. And, normally in our classroom, I provide all that stuff for you so we don't have to worry about searching and downloading and stuff. But since we're all at home, the burden is now on everybody to do a little bit of searching, to do a little bit of downloading, and just figure out where things are. So don't hesitate to Google if you need to Google. Don't hesitate to email me if you need to email me because you've hit a stumbling block. No matter what's going on, we can always work out a way to get you off and running in doing Unity development. So do not worry if you hit a snag because we will unsnag you. All right, so the standard assets have loaded into my project, and I just wanted to show you guys a few of the different standard assets. So I'm going to open that in the project window. I click down here on this folder, and I see all of these subfolders here on the right. So thinking through, we had 3 example games from last time. We had Pizza Crash, we had My Doll's House, and we had Dante's Infernia. So I wanted to show you how you could actually replicate some of the basic game setups from all 3 of those games. And the first one I'll show you is Pizza Crash. So what I'm going to do here in this blank game, I'm zooming out here by scrolling the mouse wheel in and out. I'm going to create just something flat, a basic floor to put a character on. And I'm going to do that by coming over to the Create button in the hierarchy, upper left, clicking Create. I'm going to go 3D Object, and I'm going to click on Plane. So there's my plane. I can zoom in, again, scrolling the scroll wheel towards this white square. And I think I want to make this a little bit bigger, just so I have some space to move around in. I'm going to make it really big. So I'm going to change the scale of the X component uh, on the value of x in the plane's transform, and then the value of z for scale. Now I've got a really big square. So cool. So I've got a floor, and I know this is a floor because I see not just a renderer here, which is what shows this as a white square instead of nothing, makes us see a square, but I also see a mesh collider, which means if I land on top of this, I know I'm not going to fall through it. I'm seeing this chat a question. Are we supposed to be doing this? That is up to you. I would recommend to watch along. Actually, don't do it as you watch the video unless you're competent to listen and do, which is pretty hard for most people, including me. Again, it's really up to you what the way you want to work, but one nice way that I have found to use a video like this is to watch the video through from the beginning and then watch the video again when you're trying to do it afterwards. All of the videos for these are going to be saved as always on YouTube. So if you watch through it and just enjoy watching me do the game development process, you can then run through the video step by step later, maybe in the second half of your Tuesday night, and implement everything I'm trying to do. If you are the kind of person that just really wants to interact and you really want to follow along, you could leave the Twitch cast on and open Unity, but you might get a little lost or distracted. And I would say that that's a little bit of a tougher way to go about the process of doing game development with me here on Twitch. So, but let me know what you guys end up doing, and I will try to adjust accordingly. So here we go. I've got this plane here. I added it. And I want to show you guys in the standard assets, there's actually a car that I can put on this plane. So down here in the project window, I've got standard assets, and I'm going to double click on not characters, I'm going to double click on vehicles. So I open vehicles, and then now here I've got an aircraft and a car. Looks like I double click on car and I get this list here. What you're always looking for when you download assets from the asset store or really from anywhere are prefabs. So I am going to double click on the prefabs folder, and in here I find a few different prefabs, car, and then some other things. And I've told you guys this occasionally, but I emphasize it again here. If you want to see what these assets might look like, you can come down to the lower right of this window and click on the that tiny little circle there, drag it to the right, and now I can see my car. Cool. So this car looks like a really good option for a prefab for me to play with. I'm going to drag it in and drop it right there on my plane. Looks great. And I am going to hang out like this. Awesome. Let's see what it does. No harm in just hitting play. So there it is, and I hear the rumbling of the car's engine. Let's see if I can control it. Indeed I can. It even emits dust, which is just so cool. I'm hitting the back button, the S on the WASD, and backing it up toward my camera. It backs past me. Oh my gosh, where is it? There it is. Cool. So there's a car, and it is a car I can control right out of the box in this Unity standard assets. So it's pretty neat. You can turn it right and left, and you see it here. So if you clicked on the car and then not any of the child objects, but the parent car object here, it's the one with the blue box next to it, you would see coming over here in the inspector that there's a whole lot of stuff here on the right that you can choose how it works. So we've got um, setting car drive type. We can do 4-wheel drive, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive to change the way the car handles. It looks to me like we can up the top speed of the car, slip limit, downforce, all of these really detailed physics-based calculations for how it feels to drive this thing. So if I were going to use this in my game, I would play with those options a little bit and see if there's a certain way I like the car to handle before I built out an environment for it to be in. But the other thing we need is, once again, if I hit play here, it's cool that I can drive the car, but, now it's gone. And like, okay, that was fun for a while, but I'd like to be able to see the car wherever it goes. So what you need when you have something like this is you need a custom camera. Exactly. Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, no camera following it. That is right. And something amazing about the standard assets is it comes with some really great cameras. So if you go over here to cameras in the project window and then open prefabs, don't need to see these. I can drag this to the left. I just want to use the multi-purpose camera rig with the car. So I'm going to drag that in here. It even automatically targets the car here. If you look on the right, its target is going to be the car. So I don't even have to pass in that reference. The camera is just going to zoom around behind the car, hopefully automatically. And the only thing I have to do is get rid of the old camera that was in the scene to begin with, because we only want one. So I turn off the main camera, leave in my multi-purpose camera rig. Let's see how this works. Pretty nice. Looks like I'm following. Let's drive off. Whoa, my gosh. Bye. I think the camera is sad. So indeed, I'm following along behind. And one thing I will say is it's a little bit hard to tell, like, where is it going when you're just like driving on a white square. So they have some nice shapes that come with the standard assets as well. And I'm going to throw a couple things in here just so we can tell where we're going. I'm going to scroll down here in the project window, unroll prototyping, open prefabs, and then down here I'll drag this to the right. Got some nice, just pre-built shapes that, just to create a fun little obstacle course for us. Let's throw some of this stuff in here. And I'm going to make the plane even a bit bigger so I don't drive so close to the edge. Cool. So this will give us a better sense of how the car and the camera are interacting. There we go. Really nice. We got some really cool tire effects there too, which I'm a huge fan of. And just overall a really nice basic car controller that would be a fantastic place to start if you wanted to do a delivery game. So over the moon about that. If you were interested in doing that type of game, or I know we've had people talk about doing a racing game. It would be a great card to do a racing game with. Again, we're looking for games in the theme of Alone Together, but I think you could probably do something racing oriented for that if that was what you wanted to do. So props to you if you want to do a card game. I'm seeing Francis saying I'm going to do a card game in the chat, which is awesome because I want to see a game that uses this card. So I wanted to show you guys one more character controller that you do have access to in the standard assets. So, again, one of the other games last week was that creepy dollhouse game. And if you wanted to do a game like that, we actually have a built-in first-person character controller. So let's take out the car. I'm going to leave my pillars here. And I am going to go back into the folder for characters right here. And I'm going to double click on, let's drag this to the left so I can see it, first person character, and then prefabs. I'm going to drop FPS controller right in there. And then just in case, I'm going to let it have the main camera so it can use it. Because what a first person character controller does is it pulls the camera right inside of itself. And all of your movements when you hit the arrow keys or WASD apply to where that camera is going. And then the way you move the mouse determines where that camera is looking. So I load in this FPS controller. It should work out of the box, but let's just see what happens when I press play. Excellent. So we've immediately got this really nice first-person view of the game. And if you listen, you can hear the footsteps. Got a really nice, subtle little footstep sound, and yeah, you can hear it jumping too. Just pretty nice, you know? And of course, when you see this moving, that's me moving the mouse to look at these different pillars and me hitting the spacebar there to jump. So, you know, just using your default main camera and the FPS controller, you've immediately got a first-person character controller without doing any programming. And you could start building out a house or downloading a house asset and figuring out how you want that house to work through the lens of a first-person character, if you wanted to. Not much of a house here, but what are you going to do? It takes a while to make a good game. So you've got a first-person asset, you've got a car. There's a lot of fun stuff in the standard assets, and you know, in addition to the ones I just showed you guys, there's a third-person character. This is a really nice human character that, here, I'll just run this so you guys can see how this works. It has some really nice animations where it's oh, we've still got the first person. So just a really nice, really good animations, really nice body movement, kind of third person guy. If you ever wanted to make a 3D third person game, this character is great. You could color him in, and all you need to do is toss the multi-purpose camera in your scene like I did with the car, and it'll automatically target this guy and follow along behind him. So that's in there. And then for anybody interested, there also happens to be an aircraft. You know, I wouldn't recommend doing an airplane game for this particular game making challenge. You know, I can't really think of a jet situation that's going to make sense for this theme, but I did want to show you guys this because, you know, if you're ever working on a game in the future and you want to do something like this, it's pretty cool. Let's put our camera rig back in here. There we go. All right, that should work. There we go. So yeah, it just like flies, and I can go up and down, and just a nice engine sound. We've got some really nice sort of trails coming off of this thing. Very cool. So yeah, if you ever wanted to make a game with, you know, a jet, then there's a jet. So we've got two, but you know, I covered only two of the games. I've covered two of the games, and for the third option, I saw Christian saying he wanted to do the option with the cat, maybe using another type of avatar. We could definitely see how that would work. For that one, I actually have designed a custom cat avatar that I'll show you guys. And, you know, once you've created a new Unity project and added me as a collaborator on your Unity project, I can share this package with you, or I can send you a link to download it and you can import it into your project on your own. So I'm actually going to hop over here into a different project myself where I've got the cat. It's not currently in the brand new one. We'll let this example project load and I'll show you this really fun avatar. So if you're going to do the cat option, you'll definitely need to build out a house for the cat to move around in. Here it is. So let's see if Unity lets me hop right in. It does. So I've got this fun little cat here for you guys. Now this is a little bit different from the cat you saw in Dante's Infernia. But of course they designed that cat themselves, and this is one that we got from the asset store. So let me actually just run this and you'll see how the cat works. So I hit play here. She drops down. And actually, before I do this, let's make this big so we can see it. There we go. So yeah, pretty basic little cat. A little bit hard to see because the lighting's weird in this game, but she idles, she runs, and jumps. And you know, if you wanted to build a house out here, you would create some objects kind of like this for her to jump up on. And I'm controlling the way I see her. I'm controlling her camera with the mouse, actually. So I can look in any direction, and if I face her, she'll actually run away from the camera, which is how we expect a 3D avatar to behave. And you can adjust things on her, like her jump height and how fast she runs and how fast she accelerates. So lots of options on this cat. And then maybe the best aspect of it all is that if I click, she does a little hen peck like this. So if you wanted to have behavior sort of like the original game that we saw, that little peck would be how she would knock things off the table once we have a house built out. I'm seeing in the chat, maybe you can make her meow or purr. That is definitely a possibility. In fact, there's lots of ways that we can include really fun audio with this. You know, we could actually have a meow button if you wanted that would trigger an audio effect. So just like, you know, click to purr is certainly a choice. We could also tie audio to certain behavior. For example, in most games, we want there to be a sound when she jumps. So some kind of bouncing boing kind of sound or whatever maybe sound that a cat would make when they jump. Definitely lots of stuff you can do with audio. So let's see what happens when she jumps off. Goodbye. See you. so that's our little cat. There she is in the scene. And if I click on her here, I click on her on the left. I'm going to look at her components here on the right. And once again, here is her script. We've got jump height. We've got how heavy she is, or sort of the way she interacts with gravity. We can lighten that up, bring this down. She'll feel lighter if we turn this down. And then we can make her accelerate and decelerate at different speeds. And we can make her max speed higher or lower. So she comes with some nice options and just is a good kind of basic character. If you do get this package and you want to do the cat, she comes with her own custom camera that I'll transfer to you in a package. This camera has some of its own unique settings and are just helpful for this particular character. So for example, you know, seeing her, like when I go like this, the camera doesn't cut through the wall. It just gets closer to the cat, which is nice, because if the camera cut through the wall, we wouldn't be able to see her in this case when we were behind her. So you'll definitely want this particular camera for this character because sometimes they can get into weird locations. Let's see what happens when I go here to the corner. It's a little weird, right? Because where does the camera go when you try to face the cat? Apparently it goes inside her stomach, but it's all good. So there's your 3 options, guys. you have a 3D third-person cat, you have a first-person character controller, and you have a car. And, one of the things I'll summarize from all three of those is, you have the character, and then you always need there to be a camera attached to the character, because the camera is what the player sees when they play the game. Now, that's different from what you see when you're making the game. And for every type of avatar, the kind of camera, in other words, what the player sees when they're playing, is different. So, what I see when I'm playing a first person shooter is really different from what I would see when I'm playing a third person 3D cat game where I have to knock vases off of the tops of bookshelves. And you can't set an avatar up without setting up its camera so that it makes sense what you can see when. Um, so if you do revisit this video after today, just make sure to follow along step by step and set the camera up along with the avatar you're using. If you get the cat, you'll get everything you need. You'll get a scene that already comes with the camera and the cat set up, and you can start building your house. It'll be super exciting. So all of these options are possibilities, but the two options that I know people in the chat talked about today, which were a car and a cat. The car, you'll need the multi-purpose camera rig. You can also try the free look rig, which allows you to look, use the mouse to look. And the cat, you won't need to set the camera up because it'll come with it. I'm seeing the car game I'm making is going to be a mountain road. That sounds absolutely excellent. The only thing I would say is just remember the theme, which is of course alone together. Alone, or hey guys, I hope you can hear me talking. I just reset the stream and started it again, so welcome back if you can still see me. Bummer when the internet cuts out like that, but it is what it is, and I am back with you here in the last 10 or so minutes of the stream, just kind of wrapping up what we were talking about here as far as game development goes, and just asking if you guys had any questions or anything I could talk about. Yay, technology from Haley in the chat. Yes, it's never ending. It's never ending. I did want to briefly remind you guys that the adding me as a collaborator on your project is definitely going to be something that takes a fair amount of effort. And I wanted to emphasize that because it's important that you do this so I can download what you're working on in Unity. So if you take one thing away from this stream today, remember that what I ask you to do is create a blank project, and then follow the tutorial on makeroom.elinemedia.com/online-learning in order to add me as a project collaborator. I'm going to show you that tutorial now and give you guys a couple of pointers on how to get through this. I won't go through every single step, but I will hit on the basics just so you guys know what to do. So as soon as you've got me added as a collaborator, I can share things with you like the standard assets pack, and I can share the cat controller. So in the case of Christian, I know you want to use the cat, so it'd be really important for us to get connected so I can transfer the cat directly to you using Unity's source control, which is of course Collab. So yeah, I'm going to actually go to our step-by-step guide here on the blog. And if you head to the Make Room blog, you would see adding collaborators to a Unity project. Clicking on read more, you'll see a fairly long post. And every step of the way is going to have screenshots, so you can follow along by looking at the screenshots. And here's what you need to know. To add me to your Unity project as a collaborator, you'll need to create a blank project, which I showed you how to do in this stream. And you're going to need the email address of the person you're adding to the project. That person is me. So given that you want to add me, you're going to want to add my email address, which I'll put in the chat. It's my personal email address, which is the one I use for Unity. It's mesnardna@gmail.com. That is the email address you will need to add me to your project. So make sure you note that down somewhere and do not forget that that is the one. So once you have your project and my email address, you'll be able to move forward with the process. And I can summarize the process by saying there's a few things you need to do in Unity, which essentially involves just uploading the project into the cloud. So you'll create a Unity project ID for your project. You'll upload it by clicking on the collab button, much like we do in class. Once you have the blue arrow, you'll push your project for the first time, and then it'll be visible when you log into the Unity website. So on the Unity website is where you'll add me to your project once you've uploaded it. And again, this guide will take you through every step of the process. You'll log in here at unity.com and you'll go to organizations. That is where you can begin the process of adding me to your project. From there, you'll need to add my email address just one time and then set a few options on allowing me to have access to the project you just created. Once that happens, you will be good to go. And I will see your project in Unity Hub, just the way you see the Make Room projects that we work on at uCodeit. So again, I said this before, I'll say it again. I'll know you added me because an email will come through to my email address stating that you did, in fact, add me as a collaborator on your project. And so I will be looking for that email after today. I'll be looking for you to add me. And if you do successfully get the process done, I will pull your project and right away give you the entire standard assets package so you can start playing around with the car, the first person character controller. And then if you're interested, and I know Christian was, I will also include the cat. So all of those things will be available to you as soon as we're connected through this process of adding me to your blank project. So before I end the stream, I wanted to open the floor for questions in case anyone has questions off the bat for doing this process, which all of us should be able to do with a free Unity account. It's available to everyone to add a collaborator as long as you have a free Unity account, which all of you guys do have. We've created those for you in class, and now you will be using them. You'll probably also need to rely on your email address for some of this, which I know you guys have logged in. Christian, I know you do. Francis, I know you interact with your email fairly regularly, so it shouldn't be a problem. Reading the chat. Okay, Haley's just touching base with some folks. A bulldog, that would be very cool. Yes, I see Greg talking about alternate options. I do actually have a dog asset that could work. The dog is pretty cute. It's not a bulldog, but we might be able to rig something up. I'll show you what the dog looks like if you're interested in a dog. Ooh, that's a big dog. Good to see you in the chat, Greg. I could definitely outfit you with a dog that works at least somewhat similarly to the way the cat works. Doesn't work the way that cat works now because there's a little bit of customizing that goes along with this as an avatar. Obviously, one of the first things you need to do is to shrink it down because, my gosh, that's a huge dog. But if folks are interested, I could definitely provide a dog as well as a cat if you want to do this 3D third-person animal game. The other thing you can do is look on the asset store. Other thing you can do is look on the asset store. There's lots of free stuff on there, lots of free character controllers that you can set up. Um, I love that idea. Yeah, I'm just reading here. It says, since the theme is alone, I've been going on a neighborhood walks with the dog, thinking of doing a neighborhood. I really love that idea. I think that would be such a beautiful game, like maybe a dog walking game. Um, I feel like maybe you have a bulldog. That would be so wonderful. Let's see if we can do something like that. Building out a neighborhood would be a great place to start with this project. Oh, yes, I'm so glad you have a bulldog. Those are one of my favorite dogs. I look at the face of a dog like that and I just want to have them in my lap 100% of the time, as long as they're not too slobbery. So that would be very cool. I would love to see a neighborhood dog walking type of game. And again, if you do an asset store search, there is a lot of assets that would be sort of a neighborhood type flowers and bushes. There's a lot of stuff available to you. So I can really see that project legs and really being a fun one. So my hope is that we can get set up with these so that I can see what you guys are working on. But anything you want to do to work on this, just do it. You don't have to do it in the order that I'm telling you. You don't have to wait. Like if you get excited and you know how to use the asset store, you know how to build a basic prototype, just do it, right? Don't wait for Natalie. Go as fast as you want to go. And then as soon as we're set up through Collaborate, I'll see what you've been working on. And each week here on Tuesday, I'll talk about the things you guys are interested in knowing. So for next week, it sounds like I should focus on a driving game, and I'll give you guys some tips and tricks on setting up a 3D cat or dog as well. And then we'll probably look at an environment. Um, you know, houses, trees, what would it take to actually make a neighborhood or a city? I know there's some good free assets out there that are already like curvy roads, and you might be able to pull something like that. But Francis, I will say there's one asset out there that's made by Unity. It's like a city asset, but it's huge. So make sure you look at the size of the assets you're pulling if you pull a whole environment for your game, because we all only have access to 1 GB per game. So stick with the 1 GB limit, and I would recommend going low poly unless you really want to do something high res. So that's about it for tonight. If you guys have last questions, so what do you mean by 1 GB per game? I'm seeing this, and what I mean by that is if you create um, a game using your personal Unity account, there's a 1 GB limit. So you cannot make a huge game in your personal Unity account because the only way to get more storage space is by paying. It's by paying. So if you do want to make something huge and high res, you would need to pay for a Unity Premium account. And that is why that limit exists. So if you're prototyping, I would say go low poly. And if you do then later want to make something high res, talk to me and we'll try to figure out an alternate solution. The project management we use for the projects that you code it, we do have more storage space because that is a paid Unity organization. So that's a possibility of us doing project management there, but no reason to do that unless you're pretty far along. So stick with some basics for now and get me as a collaborator on your project before you start designing like high res meshes and crazy textures and stuff. So last chance to pop in your questions if you have any last questions or comments before I sign off. I apologize for the internet blips and delays we had here. I will be posting all of the video from tonight's session on YouTube as usual. So if you want to go back, there had been Christian's question of, should I be doing this while Natalie is talking? And my general line of reasoning is no, watch the whole video first and then go back over it in detail when you're actually sitting down to do Unity. That doesn't mean you're prohibited from doing them at the same time. You can open Unity and work while I'm talking, and there is nothing wrong with doing that. But sometimes it can be helpful to just listen and absorb all of the information and then go back and try to do what I said once you have it all in your head. So that's usually the best approach for learning, especially when you're doing something as complex as Unity, which we all know can be a little confusing at times. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It was such a fun time talking to you. Greg, I'm glad you joined us at 7:30. I had about 30 minutes of stuff before that you can easily review by heading to YouTube. And that is, of course, now linked from our course website. It is makeroom.elinemedia.com/online-learning. Here it is. I will put it up one more time just so you guys can see it. You'll want to head here for all tutorials. I was just saying I would post this video on YouTube. You can go to this website and click on YouTube to get to our YouTube channel. If you do like YouTube and use it regularly, I would suggest subscribing to this channel so the videos we post right away. So definitely hop over and follow us on YouTube if that's what you like. You can follow us on Twitch using your Twitch account. And then Blog has all the details on how to add me as a collaborator to your Unity project. So that is your assignment for next week. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with me. Thanks for being on the team. It's a difficult time right now, and there's no better times like difficult times to make video games. So I hope you guys are excited about that because I am. And I will be live casting once again next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, reach out, email me, add me as a collaborator. I'm always here and ready to help you work on making the game of your dreams. Okay, guys, that's it for now. So this is Natalie for Game Builder at You Code It with Eline Media and Make Room, signing out.